This is Romo Dunze, and you're listening to the Ballsville Podcast.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yo, yo, yo! What is up, Ballsville Nation? How's it going? I know you guys love my intro so much better than Scott's, right? We won't tell him that when he's back from his cruise, but you guys know you like it. What is up, everybody? It is good to see you on this Friday Eve, fresh from the holiday. Christmas is finally behind us all. I know it's one of those things we all look forward to and then are so happy it's over once it's done, right? A good friend today, Alex, is here, guys. Our El Presidente. Alex, tell me about Christmas. How was yours?
It was great, man. You know, I'm a father of 3, and we're still bringing the magic to these kids and stuff. So, you know, Santa came, he brought the heat, and everybody was happy, man. So it's wildly successful, filled with all the intangible things that we want at a Christmas. So, very, very happy man over here. How about you?
Oh, it was good, man. It was good. I don't have any little ones I just, spoil my nieces or my nephews and niece, I should say. So, they had a good time for sure. And I always love playing with them and all the little toys they get. They're only 4. And, obviously my new nephew's just a baby. So he really baby first Christmas kind of scenario for him. I don't think I've seen my mom smile consistently for that long, though, in a long time when she was holding that baby. She's listening.
Many years ahead. That's good.
Oh, man. She waited for a long time for grandbabies, so she's just eats it up now. But, yeah, otherwise, man, we had a blast, dude. Went to my grandma's, got to see all the fam, so it's always a fun time for us. But, yeah, man, I mean, other than that, though, fantasy-wise, it really didn't help me too much this week. I think Kelsey really was the only one that gave me any love. Everything else was just pretty dookie.
Yeah, it's been a rough couple games to start off week 17.
Right? The week that we want better. The one week that we're like every year, week 17, that's the week that really means everything. If you're playing in it, it's the one that matters the most. And then here we are. We got, 3 different days of football going on, and we get to 4 actually, if you count Saturday and Sunday too, being 2 separate days. That that's normal, but we had Thursday, we had Wednesday, and then now we got Saturday and Sunday coming. It's just you'd hope that by the Saturday Sunday games you'd at least feel somewhat comfortable. But I think I've only got one out of all my championship teams that's even like remotely in a spot that I can sit back. Everybody else I'm like on pins and needles.
Oh no, I am out, bro. It's been such a rough year. I'm in the big game finals, the championship for that, but that's about it.
But way to brag. Gee, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
But this will be the first time in like a decade that I'm not gonna take home a championship cup, and I didn't even make it to the championship round, and it's big whammy,
Oh man, so you're telling me that that's the last league that you actually have performing going into this week was the one that you made it to Ballsville?
Yeah, that's it. That's all.
Okay, so now now I feel bad for giving you mess because at least you got that one.
PlayStation game. I didn't win a playoff game this whole season, so that's where the season went.
So if you guys heard that Freudian slip there, that's because his PlayStation was his Christmas present. That's why he said PlayStation there for you guys, just so you know. The guy has been on the PlayStation for a few hours straight, and I'm sure he's got PlayStation on the mind still.
Dude, so I'm not the type to buy myself a PlayStation 5, so I never really wanted one. But then my boys who just got jobs, they got me a PlayStation, and they hooked me up with a trio of games that I just low key wanted to play. So I've just been stuck on these games, dude. They're dope.
Hey man, you earn the opportunity to sit there and play some video games, dude. I mean, any dad in a household of 3 is always going to earn the opportunity to sit on his butt and play some video games from time to time.
Yeah, I know. And then oddly enough, these last 4 days, I've been off of work. So I've had the time to just lounge around and get my sleep and play my games. It's been pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely, man. So let's talk a little bit of fantasy here before we move into our breakdowns on our leagues. So you guys know what we're going to do today is talk a little bit about our championships that are going on in our Ballsville games because as we just mentioned, week 17 championship week across the board in all of our platforms. So we're just going to touch base on a couple of these for you guys and go over some of the ones that we haven't covered yet and just reiterate on where some of the other ones are after these phenomenal games that we've had so far. And I hope you guys caught the sarcasm in that comment. But so before we do all that, though, let's talk a little bit about these implications. Kansas City winning, that basically means that they are locked down. There's really nothing that matters with these last 2 weeks of games. What do you think is going to happen, man, moving forward with Kansas City and their team? Do you think that we're done with Kelsey as far as a fantasy player moving forward into the 2025 season now that they're pretty much sitting him throughout the league? So anybody that does have a week 18 game, like, he's not probably going to play coming up here. So what do you think, man? Do you think Kelsey's pretty much gone at this point as far as at least, early round fantasy relevance?
And it's so crazy to see how his value has always been denied. Every year, everybody tries to deny the value of Kelsey, and then you take a year to invest in him, and he kind of lets you down. And now he's going to end the season on a strong note. We're going to see him in action in the playoffs, and it's a good question where his fantasy value lands. I wouldn't be taking him anywhere out inside of the first 2-3 rounds. But
right, this is all assuming that he doesn't retire in the offseason to go be Taylor Swift's backup dancer or something like that. But I mean, even if he plays, I don't know if he'll ever be at that level again.
Totally. And we're going to have a few players like a Derrick Henry, and Kelsey that are going to be coming back that still, I mean, there's still juice left to squeeze. You got to pick them up somewhere. I just don't know how early they're going to go in these drafts. Can't wait to see. We get to see in February. So
Yeah, I know, right? It's going to be intense, man. And then, it's really crazy how you've got kind of him taking that step back and then only one taking that step forward is now Brock Bowers in his rookie season, who looks like a super stud. And it's he's just basically hey, Kelsey, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate you. But now I'm just going to stand here for the next decade, and the rest of you guys are going to be way the hell down there. And it's it feels like we're going right back into the same cycle again that we were just in over the last decade. If you're a Bears fan and you hate the Packers, it's falling right into Jordan Love after Aaron Rodgers, after Brett Favre here. What are we going to do? Is a tight end position going to be the same setup where we're basically chasing Brock Bowers late first round, early second round, and then dropping down to seventh or eighth round before the next one goes?
Well, I'll tell you what we're not going to do. We're not going to put our chips into the possibilities of a Dalton Kincaid in the fourth round.
Yeah, right. I mean, we were so hyped going into this season. The tight end position was supposed to be back to life finally. You didn't have just one team killing that spot all year. Nope. So, exactly like it was before, except his name was Brock Bowers and not Travis Kelce.
I did a dynasty startup in 24 with our friend El Super Obisto in his league. And one of my things that haunts me is that I picked Kincaid over McBride, and they were right back to back, Kincaid over McBride. And as soon as I selected it, I said, no, that's not the right choice. And it was already too late. And that was the most that I believed in Kincaid. And I think you just got to go with the greater late strategy when it comes to tight ends. If you're not going to get a Bowers and McBride, or is Kelsey great? Maybe.
But man, we all thought that Kincaid was a Bowers and a McBride this year, right? I mean, how many guys got taken over Bowers in most drafts? I would say 6 to 7, at least.
He was right after David Njoku. He was bottom of the barrel, last person to pick their tight end. And part of the reason why you see a lot of Bowers in the postseason is because people were waiting to seal up that position and ended up with, what is he, tight end 1, 2? I mean,
Bowers won. By far one, if I'm not mistaken. He's way out there.
That's a home run hit. That's a fantasy football MVP right there. When you select him as the last tight end taken, the tight end 12 probably, and then he delivers as the tight end 1. That's how you win championships. That's probably why I am not in a lot of these championships.
Right. I mean, guys like him, Jaden Daniels, those guys that you took as your second player at the position, as a flyer, like a high upside flyer type position. And then they became your starter early to mid-season and stayed there. And whoever you took early in that draft felt like a wasted draft spot now, because you could have picked up somebody else where you're weak in a spot that, had receiver, for example, where you had a lot of injuries that took place, and a Nico or something like that was out of your lineup, or Rashee Rice was out of your lineup or something like that. So those types of scenarios, man, like you look back on that and you're like kicking yourself in the rear for making that decision. And then also like the 4 guys that you took over Bowers, no matter what position they were, you're mad at yourself for that because Bowers was sitting there for that long and you just kept skipping him because you thought you were set at tight end. I mean, it's hard,
Point. So that's a great point. So what I was thinking about, I was thinking about this recently, and I was considering when you're doing like a startup draft, especially in Dynasty, you see a lot of teams like, they want to sell their early draft picks and kind of pick up an extra pick in the 4th or the 6th or both if they can. And I think that strategy is kind of what paid off this year. If you're abandoning your first round pick, aside from Jamar Chase and Josh Allen, you're abandoning that first round pick and you're kind of picking up an extra player in the 3rd and 4th round, and you're picking a skill position. I think those are the teams that we see thrive in the 2024 season.
Yeah, it's definitely been an oddball season. 100%, man. It's been one of those just wacky, off the wall type of scenarios. I mean, look at a guy like Isaiah Pacheco. I know you and our good friend Zoobs, who's our first commenter in here once again, like always. What's up, Zoobsies? Good to see you. I know both of you guys were super high on Pacheco, and I was too. I mean, I wouldn't say super high, but I had him like right up there with like Achane and stuff like that in my pre-draft like ideas. And when he went down, it was like at first it's like, okay, we'll get him back here within like a relevant timeline and he'll be able to help us push for the playoffs and all that towards that point of the season. And then by the time he did come back, which was later than we'd hoped, he still hasn't even been impactful even up to this week. He looked like he was almost behind Kareem Hunt as far as like the pecking order, even though he started. So I'm definitely like kind of just like things like that, and then we already mentioned the Collins, we already mentioned Rice, those types of players going out for you early on. You had your hopes on those guys, and if they didn't perform for you, CMC, we didn't even mention CMC. I mean, he's got to be by far the worst, one in a while for people. Like that's the Jamarcus Russell of 2024 fantasy right there, because that poor guy was just like butthurt all year. I shouldn't say butthurt. He was physically hurt all year and was not really able to perform. And then when he got in, he underperformed for a few games and then got hurt again. And it was just like, it was painful to watch. And if you drafted him, it was even more painful to witness on your lineup.
And it's what makes it rough. So I did have some CNC, especially in the big game best ball. I was drafting a lot there with that 101, obviously the wrong choice. But then you have like these commenters that are, Madden curse or it's every other year with CMC. And to be honest, they were right, man. The guy got the workload last year, and lo and behold, his body starts to betray him this year. So,
yeah, he's at that point in time, at that running back age, man, where you start to like see these signs for somebody that early on in his career was considered injury prone. It took a couple of solid years.
Yeah. Kelsey, Derrick Henry, CMC, they're all in the same boat. They're older. Can they still do what they do? 2 of them have proved it. CMC's kind of broken down, but I mean, his upside, if it's still there, what do you think? Do you think we get another year out of him?
Out of Henry?
No, out of McCaffrey.
Out of McCaffrey, I think we might get another year, but I don't think we'll ever get that kind of a dominant. He might sneak his way into the top 5, but I don't think he'll ever be in the top 3. At least I hope he proves me wrong, because I think he's a good dude and he seems like, somebody who I'd like to see succeed. But I just don't foresee it happening at this point. I think you got a better shot at getting another good season out of Derrick Henry at 3 or 4 or whatever it is he'll be next year than you do out of CMC at 28 coming back and having a stellar year.
That's so crazy to say.
I know, isn't it? Especially at the running back position. When you have guys that were like as dominant as Derrick Henry, like an Adrian Peterson was, and then he fizzled out towards the end of his career. And then, at the age that Derrick Henry currently is now, who's still running for over 1,000-yard, 1,200-yard seasons, 20 touchdowns or whatever he's at. So, it's definitely been impressive. I can't say that I'm not surprised because, this guy has just been like this constantly. And, I didn't anticipate it, but I can't say I'm surprised by it.
So putting you on the spot here, let's talk Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley in your top 5 in dynasty startups?
See, that's another scenario, right? So it's I love Saquon now. Don't get me wrong. I've always liked him since he came out. I mean, Quadzilla is amazing. But like, are we looking at a situation next year similar to CMC? I mean, this guy also has a history with injuries, just like CMC had. I think is he the same age or a year behind age wise than CMC? I think he's a year younger.
He'll be 28 next year, I think. I'm pretty sure.
And what is CMC? So is it the other way around? CMC's a year older than Barkley?
McCaffrey is definitely the older player.
Yeah, I feel like it's only a year though, right? Because Barkley's there. I thought they were only a year apart, draft wise. But either way, I mean they're close enough. So I definitely do feel like we have a potential of Barkley having a letdown season, and we don't get a lot of back-to-back top player seasons like that out of the running back position. When was the last time we had back-to-back top running back for the season in fantasy? Back-to-back RB1 seasons. I don't know if we've had that for a while.
That's a good question. Yeah, you're right. Barkley's 27. It says McCaffrey's 27 too. So
they're the same age. Maybe I didn't think they were the same draft. Maybe they were. This is what happens when you enjoy sports.
So there was a lot of buzz around Saquon.
Yeah, Saquon, I like him, man. I'm not saying that if I have the 101, I'm passing on Saquon. I'm definitely not saying that right now. Like next year, 101, single quarterback league. I still at this point, I can't say that I'm going to just not take Saquon and be happy about it. But if there's something happens preseason and he's going into the season with any kind of lingering, ankle or hammy or quad or something like that going on next year, I might have a little bit of fright from last year, like a little bit of that PTSD from Miss Caffrey this season, and it could scare me off of Barkley potentially.
Yeah, I see that.
What's up, Jerry? How you doing, buddy? It's good to see you. All right. So you wanted to get into some dynasty talk here, dude?
Yes, sir. Let's do that. It's exciting
Awesome.
times for Ballsville, everybody. If you're in any of these leagues, give a shout out. Hopefully you're in the championship rounds in some of these games, because our dynasty game, we have 16 leagues and there's 2 finalists from each. That's 32 players that are in those finals. Redraft, we have 60 people, 30 leagues. We have the winners and the runner-ups that are either banking or they're wagering. And then in the big game, we have 12 division winners, and there's big money on the line in all of these games. So hopefully you're in one of these finals.
Absolutely. And before we actually move into that, we forgot to mention, actually, I should say I forgot to mention, I don't want to throw Alex under the bus with me here. We are going to do a giveaway for you guys today. So if you're in here and you're listening to this pod, at the end of the episode, we're going to have our standard giveaway, and you guys know how this works. If you type the word championship into the comments, you will be entered into the giveaway. Alex, what are we going to give away to these fine gentlemen and ladies that are out there in our audience today?
We're going to go ahead, and there's a little ticker. So we're going to go ahead and just give away a mini leagues entry, because these leagues, we're going to go through the playoffs, the Super Bowl for the NFL. And right after that, in February, we go right into the mini leagues. Our draft season kicks off. That's our pre-NFL draft leagues. And we want you guys to come be a part of that and join Ballsville's draft season as soon as it kicks off. We have a pretty high demand, but we have these leagues prepped, so we'll be ready to go when it's time.
I love it. So that's mini league entry for you guys if you didn't hear that. So feel free to type in championship. Looks like we got 4 people already jumping on top of this, because these guys are homies that know what's going on. They have done this before, and they want that mini league entry. You saw what happened last year, guys. Our mini league champion from a $4 entry walked away with $660 in his pocket. So you guys should definitely do that mini league, especially if you're getting in for free. All right. So jump on the championship bandwagon, type it in just like the old school commercials with TJ, Who's Your Mama, and we can make this happen.
Well, I have some stats. Speaking of those payouts, I have some stats from the mini leagues. Our payouts were the wager winner, who was JM Hubs, took home $690. Free Mark, who was our champion, he won his league, his division, and scored the highest amongst all 40 leagues in week 17. He didn't wager, or else he would have took all of it. But he won $190 from a $4 entry without wagering. That's just a passive prizes. Um, we had another person win $90. We had two more people win 60. That's actually three more people. And then we had 20 people bank and take home $30. And then we had two more players who didn't win a single league, but they won. They each won one of the mini games that we have going on. When you draft with us, as we draft, all together. We're all getting along and stuff like that. So out of nowhere, we'll come together and put up a mini game. Whether you're predicting draft picks and landing spots, rushing leaders, target leaders, stuff like that, and $50 is paid out just for free. That comes along with your $4 entry, so you can win around every corner with us, and that's why we do this. So the mini leagues is a great success. Thank you to Zoops for helping to run that, and we're on to the bigger payout games now. So it's getting
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's pull up this dynasty breakdown here and talk about where we're at with the dynasty leagues. So Alex, why don't you go ahead and break down exactly what these guys are wagering on and how it works for, the leagues as we talk through this.
Okay, so for dynasty, their wagering process is actually pretty simple. It's more unique. It's different from redraft if you're in the redraft games. So they voted for 16 playoffs. So we wanted to honor their wishes, 16 playoffs as opposed to the 4 teams that we have for redraft. So in order to do this, what we did is we allowed the 16 playoffs, and if you're in the top 2, if we call them finalists, if you make the championship round before the winner in your league is decided, at that point you get $50 represented by a gold coin on our spreadsheets that you see here. So you get $50 and you get to decide for week 17 if you would like to keep that 50 or if you'd like to wager it against the other leagues in the Dragons of Dynasty. So by wagering, now your points are collected and you're put into a pot. Right now, that pot, just off of the wagers alone, is $750. These are $25 buy-ins. So the people that have wagered, if their team craps the bed and they lose out, they're not going to take home anything. That's the kind of risk that you take. Do you want the $50 or do you want to put it in? So if they lose in the wager round and they still beat their opponent in their league, they take home $125. So they're still winning 5 times their entry. Now, if they wager and they score the highest points amongst other people that wagered, then they win the wager prize, which is at $750, and that comes with a 200 game bonus. So now one of these 15 people that have wagered from a $25 entry is going to win at least $950. Somebody will win that this weekend.
That's awesome. And that's a $25 buy-in per team. So, $950 payout on $25 buy-in.
Yeah. So at the same time, you see everybody who collected their coin, they banked it, they're going to take home $50, win or lose this week. So you're going to have scenarios where people are going to win the wagering bonus, and people are just going to take home their $50 credit, and they might not even win their league, but at least they won $50. So in addition to that, whether you wagered or not, all 32 of these finalists are entered into 3 passive prizes. You have the championship prize, which is a $250 championship bonus. That's without wagering. That's just for the single highest score among all the finalists. Naturally, if you score the highest, you're going to beat out your opponent. So you're going to take home that 125 as well. So if you banked your money, now you're looking at 175 from your league payout plus 250 for your championship bonus. If you win the wager pot, the championship bonus, and obviously your league, you're going to win the 950 plus the $250 championship bonus plus the 125 from your leagues. So the payouts here just keep elevating. There's also an empire element. If you make what we call the podium out of all 16 leagues, if you score one of the top 3, you're either going to be the championship with the $250, you're going to be the runner-up with $100, or you're going to be bronze, 3rd place, with $50. That's the podium. If you make that 2 years in a row, that means that your league allowed you to become this powerhouse that has then kind of dominated the game. And in that case, we call that an Empire win. You take home an additional $225, which is going to be the following year's payouts from your league. And that league resets, and everybody has to either buy in or that's their opportunity to get out of it. So the upside here, I believe, is on this page somewhere. If you scroll down, so if you're on the scoreboards page and you bring up this document that Sean's looking at and you scroll down it, it's going to give you the breakdown that I just told you, and it's going to have a total of what the upside is. And I think it's something like $2,100 or something that you can get paid out off of just this.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, guys. Like, I mean, what Alex is basically trying to tell you guys is that you can buy in on these leagues. It's a standard dynasty style league for you guys. So if you're a dynasty player and you like how dynasty's set up, it's very similar to what you're used to when it comes to dynasty format. The only thing that it adds to it is an opportunity for you guys to do a tournament breakdown at the end that gives you a much higher payout than any other standard $25 dynasty league can offer. And it gives you a chance to make sure that there's consistent disparity across the 16-team leagues, because the Empire will continue to protect the integrity of all the leagues across the board so you can stay competitive no matter what.
$2,400 is the max you can win out of this. And that's in a perfect scenario. If everybody wagered their $50 coin, it would be a $2,400 payout. So that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's a pretty awesome setup, guys. I mean, all these leagues that Alex does, he put a lot of time and effort into breaking these down in order to offer you guys not only an opportunity to make a lot of money off of a low investment, but also to do it in a very fair and open view, so you guys can literally look at everything that's being there and follow the breakdowns and know that your money's going the right place and it's going towards the tournament. So yeah, these things are really great, man.
The beauty of why we do it like this and we give you the opportunity to wager and we don't force you to wager is because you guys get to determine what the odds are. For Dynasty, we use spreadsheets, but for redraft, you can actually jump into everybody's league, and so you can go see your competition. You can keep track of the scores live on the spreadsheets or just by looking in other people's leagues. You're able to verify the winner if they beat you. So we do it like this so that you don't have to beat out 1,000 people just to win a prize. Like if you're in a common tournament, you're going to, I've been in tournaments where it's like 10,000 people on underdog or something. And I score like 250 in the playoff weeks and I still don't make it. And I'm like, well, who made it? So it makes it nearly impossible. But here you could reevaluate your team and you could decide, hey, they're kind of broken, lucky to get here. I'm going to cash out. Or you can, hey, I'm dominant. I'm going to go for it and play the game. So you have the option is what makes this unique.
Yeah. And it's basically where the poker part of it comes into play, guys. You're either pushing your chips in or not. So you just got to make sure you're on top of it and letting us know so that we can play it the way you guys want it to be played.
Yeah. This year is tricky.
Right. So you want to run through these leagues real quick? We can just let everybody know what we're looking at. On what we got as far as so right now we've got these scores. These are updated up until today. Is that correct? So the games that have already been played through this week.
These are updated as of this morning. No, as of yesterday. So these are not the Thursday night games. They're not going to have that much.
I mean, how many points did anybody get from Thursday night's game? Really, they didn't even score any points in Thursday night's game. So I don't know if there's too many people that were playing anybody. The poor JSN owners out there. I feel for you. I had him going in one of my guillotines, well, my only guillotine, and it did not start out well for me, especially being 20 points behind TB. But yeah, those JSN points really weren't too fond of where they were at. So you can tell, like for the scores, guys, we don't have to really break them down, but you can look at Shenron, our top league Shenron, Unco Chems and Jerry B83 were the top two, and they both decided to wager. Same thing, Aljaween. These guys are Nas CIT and Shady Daddy 105. They both decided to bank theirs, but they, like Alex said, they are still in the running for the championship. J Morris 410 decided to bank his, while Bagney decided to go ahead and wager his. El Super Biesto and C-Bomb in the Bahamut League decided that El Super Biesto says he's going to take his money and run. C-Bomb says he's a champion Ballsviller and wants to wager it.
Okay, hold on.
Baby, go for it.
speaking of injuries and speaking of this Bahamut League, I'm going to take a moment to vent here. So, in this Bahamut League,
I tried to brush you through it, bro. I didn't want you to have to go through the pain.
So I started off with Rasheed Rice, Nico Collins, and Rasheed Rice injured for the year, right? So I traded him for Brandon Ayuk, injured for the year. I traded Brandon Ayuk for three running backs, Austin Eckler, Christian McCaffrey, and Jordan Mason. Never got to use any of them. So then we're in the round one of the playoffs, and he has Bo Nix and somebody else dominate, Jerome Ford or something, but they dominate. And I need 13 points for the victory. My quarterback is Geno Smith. He gets injured and goes into the locker room along with my season. And I thought, how poetic is it that I go out with an injury?
That's hilarious.
That's my heartbreak league right now.
Oh, that's so funny. You and Zoobs look like you guys got a couple of leagues that are driving you nuts over here. Zoobs is talking about the Skitherix League. Totally blew him up too. So I could feel your pain, but I was right there with you guys when my Paper Tiger squads was in here, and it didn't make it either. So I can understand it. But all righty, let's go ahead and keep moving forward so that Alex doesn't cry himself to sleep here, guys. We got the Charizard League. We got Jimbo's Bimbos. That's our boy. He decided to bank it and run with this one along with TB76. They both said they're keeping their money. And the Toothless League, we got C-Bomb, who decided to wager, along with D-Pain, who decided to wager two of our regulars here, a couple of our good managers. Oh, we're moving the wrong direction here, guys. Deathwing, Chiefs Life 13, and White Knight 1988 decided to one wanted to wager Chiefs Life, and White Knight said, not me. Decided to take his money and go. Echo FX decided to bank his money, and Etha Blinka 10 was like, not me, buddy. I am a champion wagerer. P Growth 31 in the Haku League, along with Cam Bryan in the Haku League, they both decided to bank theirs. By the way, guys, I'm just going to go right back for a second to Skitherix because that was our league that Zoopsies was really upset about, and I can feel his pain. He would have definitely wagered if he was there, I think. Lareth, Jawflip 37, and Thing Dude are the two that jogged those ones down. The wager on Jawflip 37 and Thing Dude said, not me. Gallows, that's our buddy Gallows, 18. He threw down he decided to not throw down a wager and bank it. But Sarah M., our producer, said, I will go ahead and wager my team because I like it. 716 Mafia Fury, they're Bills fans right there, decided to take his money and run, wants to go buy himself some nice Pabst Blue Ribbons and eat a few wings for that money. Batmax decided to bank his as well. He's probably going to eat some wings with Mr. Mafia Fury. Steb20 is wagering his money along with B. Bennett RBS in the Ghidorah League. Tiamat, Braden Fitzgerald, and TB76 are both taking their money and running. In the Shadow League, we got Braden Fitzgerald and Cross 24. Braden decided to take his money. Cross 24 said, I'll stick around for one more week. Blue Eyes, we got Scuba 317 and R. Richardson. Both of them decided to play it out. So congratulations to all of you players in the Dynasty Leagues that made it this far. Next year, I promise you, there will be more than one Bills fan on this list.
And shout out to a few people, Chiefs Life and Sarah. They wager right away. Also, Kroos 24 wagers everything all the time right away. He's like guns blazing, man.
Right. I mean, I'm the same way too. I like to just keep rolling it forward, man. I mean, I'm a Texas Hold'em player. It's hard for me to say no. You know, I don't want to fold a hand, especially if I watch it win the next week and I'm not in it. It'd be so upsetting.
Yeah. You listened to that No One to Hold'em song halfway through and turned it off. Never fold them. You're one of them.
Oh, dude, absolutely. You should see some people. I've got some people pretty upset at a poker table before, man. You know, me and my ridiculous mouth at the poker table sometimes is a recipe for disaster.
I love poker. I love Hold'em, man. That's the whole reason these games exist is because of that love. It's such a great sport of bluffing and faking people
right.
out.
We'll have to make sure that our Las Vegas Ballsville gathering happens during the World Series so that we can do a little sneak off for a couple of days of poker.
For real, right?
Awesome. All righty. So let's move forward here, guys. So the next thing that we're going to go into is we are going to talk a little bit about where our redrafts are sitting, because we have moved forward on our redrafts and we got some decisions on all of the different wagering and what's going to happen with each of those. So we'll go ahead and kind of run through those. Just a little recap for you guys. We did have the opportunity in these redrafts leagues to wager into 3 tiers if you won the league, and if you took second, you got the opportunity to wager into 1 tier. Okay, so the top team had the option to go for 1, 2, or 3. The bottom team only 1, and they could either wager all of it, a third of it, or half of it, and basically do 1 or 3 pots. So there's definitely opportunities for these guys to win a lot of side money. There's bonuses that are added to each of these pots. You know, for example, I'll pull up the low stakes for you guys and give you a bit of an idea on where we're at with those ones. So the low stakes leagues, guys, we had a total pot of $400 in tier 1. Tier 2 was $150, and tier 3 was $200. So as you can see on the bonus section right here, $50 was added to tier 1, $100 was added to tier 2, and $200 was added to tier 3. So you can see as you go along, if you won the league and you were able to enter into tier 2 or tier 3, you were added to a larger bonus pot with a larger potential, pot payout, with the fact that it's a higher tier wager. But so also with the tier 1, you did have the opportunity to basically take all the second place people's money. So that pot could get pretty high also, even though it's a smaller investment, because there's more people that potentially could enter it.
Yes. So we actually had a loophole. I had to discourage somebody from betting. I think it was the high stakes, because they were going to bet into tier 1 with 2 entries, and they were runner up on both of them. So they're only eligible to win half of that pot without the bonus. So the league winner who decided to wager there would have had a 50% chance to take their money. But if they lost, they still take 50% of the pot by default, because the runner-up winner would only take 50%. Meanwhile, their wager would have contributed to 66%, 2/3 of that pot. So by entering it twice with only one other wager, they would have naturally lost by default. So luckily, other people wagered in, and it became worth it for them. But that's a loophole that would have occurred, and it's probably not going to change. It's just one of those things. So just
this is one of the things you got to keep an eye on, guys. I mean, there's always little things like that you got to be aware of. Just make sure that you don't invest in a way that's going to end up costing you money, because that's basically all you have to do is just keep an eye on how that works and know that you're not going to lose money. You'll be fine.
Yeah. So on the opposite end of that, what you see here, what Sean's got pulled up, is if you're a runner up and you wager in a tier 1, you're going to risk your $50, but you beat out 8 people, and you can take home half of that main pot. That's $400. So you can take home $200. Multiply your money by 4. The odds are stacked against you because you had a loss last week, but there's still money to be had.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically what this gives you is an opportunity to, even though you lost week 16, like a lot of us that, when we lose week 16, it feels really frustrating, especially if you're in a league that only pays top 2. So, like that's, at least for the larger leagues where you have your standard playoff setups and stuff. That's obviously what I'm referencing. So in this situation right here, guys, it gives you an opportunity to make some money back, even though you didn't quite win the whole thing. So I like that setup a lot personally. And it does add more money to the top guys too, so they can potentially, if their team continues to do good throughout week 17, they're just going to win more money too. So it's better for everybody to have that opportunity. You can see that in the odds too. We got 8 people that wagered in tier 1, and then 3 people that wagered in tier 2, and 2 people that wagered in tier 3. So they got 50-50 odds tier 3 to take home that pot, and then the bonus as well. Same thing with tier 2. They got 33% odds to take home that pot, as well as the bonus. And then as you can see, we're looking at what we just discussed in the other one for the 2 different odds, 1 and 3 and 1 and 8.
Yeah. And so the people that wagered into tier 3, that's going to be Shy Bears 45, and it's going to be our friend Jojo. So
we got that right here, buddy. Look at that.
Since he wagered into tier 3, he's eligible to win tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, plus all the bonuses. So there's a scenario where him or Shy Bears, they take all the money that's in these pots. There's also a scenario where they're only the high scorer between the two of them, and they take home the the $200 plus the $200 bonus, and then we have a secondary winner who wins, tier 1 too. There's also a scenario where the most points is the runner up, and the second most points is the tier 2 league winner, third most points is the tier 2 winner, and the fourth most points is the tier 3 winner. So there could be up to 4 winners all collecting multiples of what they bought in, and then there can also be, somewhere in between, or just one JoJo sweeping the whole bonus pots. So
or Shy Bears 45. We won't put JoJo as the only opportunist in here. Shy Bears 45 has a chance as well. So I love it. And so you guys know this is just a screenshot here that we put up for you guys of the spreadsheet. There's a spreadsheet link that's on the website for you guys right near the top of the scoreboards page. It's low stakes, mid stakes, high stakes in 3 different colors. Just click that link and it'll take you right to the spreadsheet so you guys can view this as it goes. We will be updating the scoring on this one here. And do you think we'll have time to have it ready, at least with where it's at currently, by the start of Saturday's games, so that it's up to date? Or do you think we can knock that out?
Normally we would update these scores and we would keep them going live. This section actually is probably going to get eliminated because what we've done this year instead, by popular request, is we've allowed you, if you're wagering, say if you're Shy Bears and you're wagering, we've opened up the leagues of everybody else that has wagered. So instead of us having to go and adjust the scores constantly, you can actually just go to their league. They know you're coming.
That's right.
Go to the league. You can sit there. You can watch everybody's scores that's in your bracket, in your stake, and go and see the other winners and how their scores progress live. So in all honesty, you don't need us. Not for this one. That's
right. We did talk about that, and thank you for reminding me that we are not doing that on this sheet because you guys have that opportunity. So so for example, like JoJo, knowing that he's playing in all 3 pots against only Shy Bears 45, he wants to keep an eye on Shy Bears 45. He'll go join the Epsilon League and go check it out and just sit there and keep an eye on that matchup throughout the days. So that's definitely the best way to do it.
That'll be instant. So what we try to do is we try to the third and fourth quarter of the Monday night game. If you're part of the mini leagues or if you're watching your scores last week, you would have noticed that I was in there constantly updating, so that you get to see live scores as they progress. And then we'll put like a little note like Josh Jacobs, and he's down 8 points. So if you see Josh Jacobs score like a 20-yard touchdown, you're gonna go, crap, that's 8 points. And then that there's a suspense. So it's the reason why we do live scores, is so that you guys can keep it along and have that feeling of hope and despair at the same time. I guess it brings me joy to do it.
Yeah, no, it's really awesome what's going on here with these setups. And as you can see, guys, the spreadsheets kind of make it really easy to understand exactly who's in what tier and who they're competing against in those tiers. So it's a really good setup for you guys. And we're just going to continue to upgrade these every year. It's just going to get better and better.
Do you have the high stakes one? So we can highlight our non-wagering.
Are we going to just go right over the mid stakes? Are we just going to skip right on past them? Are they just not important to you or something? I mean, come on, these guys are just as important in my opinion.
Mid stakes matter. We're good. Let's do it.
Oh man, I gotta mess with the man here a little bit. So the mid stakes guys, go ahead, Alex. What's up?
So yeah, there's a lot of money in the mid stakes. The mid stakes actually have the highest participation rate. We had 11 people wager. So for tier 1, we're gonna have $1,100 there, and because it's $100 to wager to get into that tier, or the bonus is also $100. So that's $1,200 up for grabs. Odds are one of 11. That's a $50 buy-in, and it's pretty good odds. Tier 2, we had 5 people wager into that, so that's a pretty decent price too. That's $500 in wagers, plus because it's the $200 tier to get into that, it's a $200 bonus. So 1 of 5 shot at $700. For tier 3, we had 3 people wager. That's if you wager your full $400 winnings. So by default, 2 out of these 3 people will take home nothing. They will go home empty, but one person is going to win the $1,000 here, $600 from the wagers, and $400 from the bonus. That's one person out of the 3 people that wagered. That's our friend JoJo. That's Mr. Ben doing this. or it's going to be Chadwick. All names that we've had on this podcast before. These are how we like to see our players win. 1-3 odds at winning 1,000, plus a 1-5 shot at winning 700, plus a 1-11 shot at winning an additional 1,200. And if you're in tier 3 and you're the winner, you can win all that. Just like we discussed for the lower bracket, it's that same formula that's coming in, and all these totals just get doubled. And then we double them again to go to high stakes. So it's the Ballsville game itself is the formula that brings you great odds and big payouts.
Great odds, big payouts. I love it. All right. So if you guys want to see here, this is our leagues breakdown on what Alex was just talking about. So you got JoJo, who went all the way through, Mr. Ben doing this, Chadwick 0304. All three of those guys decided to go for all the wagering options that they had. And then, you go into the tier 2 round. You got Zoobs, who jumps into that group as well as C-Bomb. And then that's the tier 1 group. You've got the second place players that are jumping in that one. You've got Mike's the guy who played in that one. Philly Phil 3988 jumped in it. Pablo One Escobar jumped in it twice, actually, which is, I think, a similar scenario that Alex was just discussing. And then we've got myself jumping in there, which, so you guys know, that's not actually my team. That's just me helping Scott out for the 2 weeks that he's out. So it just changed to my name, but it's actually Scott's squad. Same thing with the one that we saw on the last page. And I did not get into any of these finals, neither the high stakes, mid stakes, nor the low stakes. So, yeah, that's going to change next year. But, hey, we're moving on. C-Bomb 18 and Chiefs Life 13. They were both decided to go into the tier 1. We already talked about C-Bomb, but Chiefs Life's joining him. And then we'll go on to what Alex was really, really wanting to get to, the high stakes leagues.
Yeah.
I love it.
Times.
So with this one here, guys, we had a lot of people that decided not to enter. And this is something that I wanted to go over with you guys, because this really grinds my gears, guys. You have the opportunity here to make over, what is that, 8 plus 4 right there. If all they had to do was just jump in for one, there's an extra $800 available for you guys in bonuses in the tier 3. So all you had to do was jump into tier 3 and you could win an extra $800. It's like basically taking down a whole second league in these leagues. So I'm just shocked that we literally had 1 out of 10 sign up for all 3 tiers. And then only the same person is the only one that signed up for tier 2 as well. Everybody else, which was only 2 more, signed up for tier 1. So what is going on with you guys here? What, did you guys just feel like that was enough money? You just wanted to give away hundreds and hundreds of dollars because you were scared? Come on, boys, let's go. I hope that this is different next year, because I really wanted to be a part of this with you guys. And now that I see I would have been all by myself almost, it's a little disappointing.
Not to mention the names that are up here, man. We have like Mr. Ben doing this, trash talker. Cash, trash talker. Chiefs Life, trash talker. JoJo, kind of a trash talker. Grizz Tony, respectable trash talker. I mean, these guys, I get it. You win a weird year like this, and you want to kind of hold on to your winnings because anything could happen. Maybe you got hurt, injured, and you barely won or something. But yeah, I'm with you, Sean. We're talking about one person wagered into all 3 tiers. So,
and he was the only one that won 2 different leagues. So he even kind of gets a little bit of like a hedge my bet kind of a scenario too. So, I mean, he didn't even really go full Ballsville either, because he had the opportunity to make sure no matter what, he's walking away with the 8. But now what ends up happening is, based on our bylaws, is the man is going to take home half of the bonuses without even having to compete against anybody. So he's walking away with an extra $600 in his pocket by just saying, yeah, sure, I'll try it.
Yes. Yeah. And we have that in the bylaws. It's in your intro. If you're in these leagues, you can go check it. It's pinned there now. It's unedited. We don't edit our documents during the season. That's something that you should look out for with other leagues, but we don't do that. We like to stay authentic. So if there's a flaw in some of the rules, we would sooner go league by league and address all of you to amend that than we would to go back and alter something in the document, because that's a little shady. But the rules state that if nobody challenges you in that tier, that bonus is divided between you and the game. So because nobody else bet, we try to incentivize you to bet, but if you don't, it actually is beneficial to the game, because now not only does he get $600 in those bonuses just for having the balls to say, I'm going to put my money out there.
The Ballsville.
We also get that $600 returned to us. That's going to go towards our pro subscriptions, to the apps we use, the StreamYard, the internet,
and free entries and all those other things that we like to give away for you guys too.
Yes, all that stuff, and then we want to award managers do get payments. It's not enough, trust me. If you win, you can tip your managers, but we do try to give payments and little bonuses out to players like Zubikis, who have gone above and beyond and shown his dedication to
and wishes that he would have been able to bid in the high stakes leagues based on his comment here, because he feels a little bit slighted, just like myself.
Yeah,
we wanted to see a Duke
was with us.
Dang it, guys! All that bragging you did during the drafts, and you didn't even have the Ballsville to get in here and see if your team's the best.
If Sarah was with us, we would have had her queue up like a big chicken sound or something. That was this chart.
Oh man, you guys wait till 2025, guys. This podcast is going to go to a whole new level, man. We're going to incorporate so many more little fun things and sounds and segment lead-ins and all the fun stuff that you guys are wanting to hear out of us, because we enjoy it and it's fun. And as long as you guys are willing to listen, we're willing to keep chirping.
So we have small pots here. We have 2 runner-ups that are eligible for 50% of the $600 pot, so they can turn 200 into 300. Sure, that's okay. Tier 2, there's one person there. He's going to get his money back. He's going to get his $600 back, and he's going to get $600 in bonuses, so he doubles that up. So for high stakes, despite all the jabbering that everybody had, during the draft season and in the season, and all the comments that everybody shared, it's really been the least performing stake, sadly. So
yeah, and honestly, like I will say, because I don't want to rag on everybody too much, but it was a very competitive setup with those leagues. Like the people that joined those leagues, like there wasn't that guy who kind of just did the weird moves a lot in the draft and kind of like allowed people to get like a really solid team because of it. Everybody pretty much stuck to their guns, drafted guys that weren't like super high reaches at the time, and really like did a good job kind of playing with what was left for them. So it was difficult to build any kind of like a super squad per se when you were going through these drafts. So, that's something in the high stakes that I think affected the betting.
Every move is criticized because it's high stakes. Everybody looks at every move and says, of course they throw out the C word, but they're like, hey, that's suspicious. They would tag us. They would leave novels in our DMs talking about why that player's shady, and we have to take it with a grain of salt. We know, we're paying attention. We're always watching. Each of these stakes has 3 managers. There's all 3 of us that are monitoring, plus the manager account. That could be any manager that's on that redraft manager bot, that anonymous account. So at any given time, you could have multiple eyes on a league, talking about it for the podcast, or just policing the activity, or turning down, people that get carried away and violate the code of conduct and stuff. That's why we're here, to keep it fair. And this was a fair competition, and it's kind of just, teetered out at the end. So
yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's for this year. Next year, I'll be in at least one of them, and I got the Ballsville. So once that happens, then there'll be at least some competitors. Zoobs is in there with me. I can tell by his comments that he's going to be one of them too. So these guys that came in here this year chirping all this game and then backed down at the last week, they're going to be in for something in the drafts coming next year, because we're gunning for you now.
Yeah, you can bring the rest of your Costco crew or whatever they are. The Costco, right?
Yeah, the Costco crew, exactly. Yeah. Mr. Ben, I know, is part of it. Cash, I think Zay, I want to say, came over from them as well. Twin Sanity, he brought everybody over. Shout out to Twin Sanity.
We're glad to have you guys. Honestly, it was real fun. You guys kept it lively. You kept leagues going. In the bylaws it says trash talk is okay, and what you guys are doing is mostly trash talk. So it was all good fun.
Yeah, exactly. That's the key. I mean, the key is exactly that last sentence that you said. As long as it's in all good fun, or all in good fun, then we're good with it. We just don't want anybody to like start attacking people on a personal level or character wise or anything like that. That's where you start to reach a level that we shouldn't. This is fantasy football. Keep it to fantasy football. You can crack jokes and make fun and play around, but we all know exactly the line is and whether we're crossing it or not. So just keep an eye on yourselves, and then we all don't have to worry about that kind of stuff.
Literally everybody that has played with this year is invited to come play with us next year because it's been that great of a season.
Yeah, and it's just going to get bigger next year too. So these pots will get bigger. We'll have more, things are going to grow, especially with what we're doing with triathlon. That's going to be really, really big. Me and Alex were just talking earlier today. We've got a lot of things that are, in the pot right now. And hopefully within the next, by the end of January, things are going to be set up for us where we can start to move forward and almost light speed. So if that happens the way that we anticipate, then by the time we start up next season, things are going to be upgraded tenfold as far as the website and everything else that we're doing.
Yes, keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. So yeah, that's going to be everything that we're going to cover for you guys today. We just wanted to make sure that everybody was caught up on all of our scoring and where we're at for the championship week. I know that this is that time of year where everybody's got their butt cheeks clenched, sitting on the edge of their seat, just like I'm going to be for the next 2 days during the weekend. Do you like the Saturday Sunday setup for this championship week? Did you like the the 2 games, 1 game, and then now 3 games in 1 game or whatever, or 3 games in the rest of the games, whatever it is that's going on?
I think it's going to be well. First of all, it gives us a chance, like for the big game, which we should probably do a little bit on. But the big game itself, like those scores are updated, so it gives us a chance to update scores in between slates. And I think it's going to be a little bit less dramatic on Sunday with less teams to play in the morning. We should have less of a swing, so we can start to gather information tomorrow and see who's poised to hold on to their point lead. And I mean, after so many games, you can look at your redraft squad and say, "Ah, crap, I started the wrong people." So it's going to do that. It's going to diffuse a lot of hope for some players. If you were playing.
Yeah. And you're right, man. We should have definitely brought that up too earlier. So I'm going to pull it up now so we can just touch base before we roll out of here today. But yeah, definitely. I agree with you on that aspect. I think that the fact that we have all these games spread out, it's almost a blessing in disguise just that we had kind of a stinker of games where there wasn't a ton of fantasy points that were gone out. So it's really like I'd say maybe 15% of games I think at this point are going to be decided prior to Saturday's start. I shouldn't say decided, but like mostly decided. Like you're still got a chance because there really wasn't any craziness going on.
Yes.
Unless you had both Mahomes and Kelsey and you're playing against both those guys and you started like Nico, JSN, and something like that, then you might be in kind of dire straits, but hopefully that's not the case.
Yeah. So speaking of the big game, myself and Sarah included, because I'm going and looking at rosters to update these scores. Both of us had 2 players, Lamar and Derrick Henry, and so we're thrilled. Those are the 2 highest scores so far, so we'll take them.
That's awesome. Yeah, and if you guys can see on the screen here, we've got it pulled up. So this is our website here, guys. So you guys are welcome to go to this site, and you can see exactly what we're talking about. And this sheet has been updated with scoring up to this point for what's going on here, and we'll keep trying to keep this stuff going for you guys on this one. As you can see in here, all 12 champions of each division decided that they were going to move into this wagering system. So I was pretty stoked to see that, man. This is the exact opposite of what we saw in the high stakes redraft league. So, now you guys know what to shoot for next year, you high stakes redrafters. But yeah, look at the size of this pot, man. This is all the wagers that are going in here. And as you can see, Alex has it all broken down right here for everybody. So you can see what the pots are going to look like for these guys.
So the reason why this is our bread and butter right here. This is our big game. This is the Ballsville game. This was the conception of Ballsville all started with this game. So there's actually, if you go on the website and you see the About Us page, there's a 5-minute video that talks about how we came to be what we are today. And it's pretty good little history thing if you have the time for it. But so the way this is set up is we have 12 divisions. All right. And what you're looking at on this sheet right now is the people that have won those 12 divisions. Now, to get here, they had to beat the 10 people in their league between week 1 and week 15, and then they win their league, and then they're prompted. You get $50. You can either bet half of that or all of it, or keep it and exit the game. But you can bet that against the other 7 winners in your division. So some divisions had about $300. So a lot of people wagered, up to like 7 or 8 people wagered for the division. And somebody like Thoral, won 250 and took home all those. MTOS won. That's Matt Tolson. He won $300. Meanwhile, you go down to Tom Mid right here. There's only $100 there. That was only 4 people that wagered one coin, or $25 a piece. So your bank right now depends on how many people wagered for your division in week 7 or week 16. But if you won in week 16, you're here now, and whatever your bankroll is, all you need is $50 to wager against other people, and you get a shot at the championship and a $200 prize. Now,
So think about it like a poker game, guys. So like basically week 16 is hand 1, and everybody goes all in on hand 1, and whoever has money left after winning those pots is going to have the money to go all in again, or half the pot, or whatever they want for hand 2. And that would be week 17.
Yes, and these division winners, everybody here is a division winner. If you're like me, out of Red Witch, I just wagered it all, so there's a chance I go home with 0. But for the most part, everybody's going to take home a portion. Mind you, these are $6.50 entry, so less than $7, about the price of a cup of coffee from Starbucks, because they bougie. So you turn that into big old $100, payouts, and the pots that we have now, you're looking at a $600 pot with a $200 bonus. That's $800, and your odds for everybody that wagered out of the division, all the division winners wagered, that's 12 people. So 1 to 12 odds at winning $800. And if you're someone like we'll take MTOS for example, he's got a $50 in his bank, so he's already taking that home, and he's wagered into all 3 of these pots, so he could win $600 plus $500 plus $300 from all of those pots, plus the $200 bonus. So he's looking at $1,600 payouts plus his 50. $1,650 is what he could win if he was a champion, and that's a $600 or $6.5 entry. So it's a lot of money for a little bit of a buy-in, and your odds so far, all these people, their odds have been 1 of 10, 1 of 8 or better, and now 1 of 12 to become the Ballsville champion.
And the 1 of 12 just to become the Ballsville champion does not mean that they walk away a loser if they don't get the 1 in 12 odds, because it goes down to 1 in 10 odds for the next pot. So if they don't win the first pot, but they're the second highest scoring team out of the 12, then they're going to take home the side pot of $500 because they beat the other 10 teams, right? Because as long as that one team that beat them wasn't one of the 10 teams that went into side pot 2, right? So you see how that works, guys. So basically, if you look at the way the wagering is set up, you can kind of say like, okay, these guys that bet $50, they can only take home $50 times 12 because everybody bet $50. The guys that bet $100, they can only take home $100 times 10 because 10 of those people bet into that one, but they also can get the $50 from each of the two $50 bettors. So they're going to get, the chance at that money, and then so on, right? So you can only win increments of what you bet.
So yeah, that's a great point. And we let you, we take a multiple of 50 and we let you decide what it is that you want to wager in, because this is another chance for you to stop and take a look at your team and say, hey, you know what? I kind of want to be in it, because any $50 wager, that's going to create the first tier, which is the championship tier, which makes you eligible for the bonus and the title of Ballsville champion. So, but we let you decide what you want to wager. So as long as somebody is willing to wager against you, like MTOS right here is going up against Kroos, and that's our head-to-head for the second side pot, $300 for MTOS and Kroos. That's a 1 out of 2 shot for those two. They want to go at it. They want to make a big wager. That's cool. Somebody will win that. If Kroos wins, MTOS doesn't go home empty-handed, because he has that $50 that he was already banking. So it's just it's a cool way of you to. It's a tournament that you're able to be interactive with, and you really get to stop down, assess your team, and consider yourself lucky and take your money and get out of here. Like if you're Connor, you just want to bet $50 and take the rest home. Understandable. You give yourself a shot, and you still, $75 minimum payout for a $6.50 entry. I mean, sounds good to me, man. I don't know. It's part of the reason why we have so many of you guys that like to play the game and come back and stuff, because I think we're kind of onto something here. Shawnee, what do you think?
Oh, I agree. I mean, so let's break down a little bit of the growth. I know that, from my first year last year to this year, you went from 8 to 12 divisions this round. What was it before last year?
I think it was 4. So hard to tell. So originally we started, it was a COVID year, we were just looking for some way to put a spin on these games, and we started with just 8 leagues, and we kept one Ballsville hub, and we named it Ballsville, and it was pretty cool. And then people that played that year wanted to come back, and we had so much of an interest that we wanted to multiply it, and I think we went to 16 leagues then, and then it was supposed to go to 32 leagues, and we blew that out of the water in like a month. So then we ended up expanding to 64 leagues, and that was last year, and now we're at 96 leagues for 2025. And the only reason we stopped is because some of our managers were new and wanted to make sure that everybody was up to speed and understood their assignments for these championship weeks. And based off of how smoothly we were able to handle that, I mean, there's really not too much to limit us from growing again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if need be, we'll look at, updating the structure in a way that we can make sure that the odds stay palpable, so that we're not running into 32 divisions and you have to take on 32 different teams, something like that.
Right.
We and Alex and Scott love to put our heads together on a regular basis and come up with what I like to call tripod ideas. And, we can basically, grow things as they grow. We can adjust to make sure that you guys are still getting the best opportunity at high payouts.
Yes. We actually bring different traits to the table that work well together. Sean, you're such an idea guy. I'm like a detail-oriented person, and Scott is real, covers the mental aspect of everything and technical, and keeps us grounded so that our ideas are able to gel together. We all bring something to the table, and it's all just designed to produce a finished product that is not only fun, beneficial, and presentable.
Yeah, exactly. And it allows for us to do stuff like this for you guys. We really have ideas to grow, all of our media network type stuff too, and do more, have more people involved that want to, do stuff like this and just sit and talk about some leagues and have little mini videos for you guys that we can post in leagues that kind of just break down how you guys are doing in that league specifically, and all these fun little things that we want to get for you guys, because this type of stuff is fun for us as much as you guys like hearing us, blabber on about fantasy. We love talking to you guys about it. So, we definitely want to give you guys as much opportunity to get the kudos that you earn while you move forward in your seasons.
Yes, definitely.
So, that being said, guys, we'll go ahead and roll on out of here for today. I hope you all had a happy holiday season. I know that, if you're doing Hanukkah, I believe you're still in day 4, day 5 right now. So, keep that rolling, have fun. You guys still got a few more days left to enjoy. And for all of us Christmas heads that are, on the tail end of that, we're going to roll right on into New Year's going on here in a few days. So, that's going to be another thing to talk forward to next year. We got 2025 right around the corner.
Sean, you want to give away this giveaway?
Absolutely. We're going to give away this giveaway, man. I forgot all about it. I'm so glad you brought it up. Did everybody put their championship in the comment section? Before we move forward here, I'll give it a second for you guys. If you have not wrote championship into the comment section, you will not be included in this drawing. So please make sure you do that. Currently, we are sitting at 4 people in the drawing. So that's a 1 in 4 chance there, ladies and gentlemen. That's a pretty good odds if in my book anyway. So get your butt in there and you can jump into this and we can go to 5 and he's still great odds at 5. So I'm going to give it just a couple minutes here.
We'll give it a minute. I just put it up in the Discord. So I'll be honest with you. I wanted to promote this podcast tonight, and I waited, and then I remembered 3 minutes before we jumped on, and I was like, oh, crap. And so I just swept through, but I didn't even drop it in the Discord. So we'll see. Somebody will.
Okay. We're going to give away this entry. It doesn't mean that we won't give away another one here coming forward. We're going to have Scott back here soon too, guys. So the more people that we have back here to help work with us and stuff, the more promoting and things like that we'll have the time to do.
So this is a big week. These points are going to determine our championships, our winners, our wager winners. And we're going to do something pretty special for you next week or the week after. As soon as we get everything nice and prepared, we're going to update the website, and we actually have some custom images for you. It's going to be trophies. They're images of trophies that are custom to the winners.
It's the new fad, guys. Digital trophies. All right, they're the next NFT.
Well, you can take that and you can use that as your profile picture. Like if you see me on Sleeper, I have a trophy as my profile picture.
Yeah, right.
Cool.
Feel free to use the Shawnee too if you won one.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. Sean's definitely got to give out his Shawnee Awards, and they're going to be, less fantasy football and more like, the Heartbreak Award or like the worst defeat of the year. Zubikis actually scored, I think it was 273 points in one of our best ball leagues, and that was the highest point that I saw all season long. So, that's something that should be remarked upon. So that'll be a Shawnee Award, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, especially with those lineups that they have, like, in the guillotine league's one thing because our lineups go crazy this time of year. But if you're sticking with that standard lineup and you're able to score a 273, that's pretty dang good. You deserve some kudos for that one.
I like to keep Ballsville rosters and scorings universal. That way, when you see a point total like that, you can just be like pretty confident you know what the lineup is, and it makes it that more impressive. Now, it is 10 teams, but still impressive.
Yeah, definitely, guys. I think we're gonna do that. We're gonna have a Ballsy award ceremony. If we maybe it's a working title. We'll see if we want to call it the Ballsy or not. But we'll come up with a good trophy name for you guys to play with for the Ballsville Awards, and we'll have a really fun time doing it. So I'm excited about it. I think it's gonna be fun. Scott will be back for it too, and hopefully we can get a bunch of people on and try to get some special guests that show up and. Maybe we'll have Beyonce sing part of her country album. I don't know.
Totally.
Oh, man. On that note, guys, we're going to head on out of here. Really appreciate you guys being here, listening to us talking about fantasy football. We love having you guys here. We love doing this. And we will see you guys soon. Are you coming? We're coming back on Tuesday. I will come back on Monday for a guillotine pod for you guys to kind of run through the finale of how things went. And all of that. So, don't worry about that part. And I am going to do this drawing. I got you guys. Let me pull this up for you.
Yeah, I'll try to be on next week. We'll see how it goes. It was nice having these last 4 days off with the work schedule. And next week being one of my busier weeks, we'll have to play it by ear. But I'll try to make it on.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just having too much fun here playing with this spin the wheel thing. But yeah, definitely, next Monday, next Tuesday, next Friday, we'll have some more specifics on dates for that next deal too.
You enter the keyword?
Yeah, I got 5 people in there. I look like Sims, I think, did it earlier. Jerry, I know, did it. C-Bomb did it. Zoobs did it. So I think we got our five ready to roll. There is 6 people in here, so whoever hasn't done it yet, you're missing out.
Yeah, this is why you guys got to catch this pod live. You're going to miss out on chances. We're also going to do one of these for our award ceremony. We're going to give away a free entry to the big game. So, come be a part of that.
Absolutely, yeah. We're going to do it, and we're also going to have, if you win an award, you're going to be entered into it as well. But if you actually come in here and type in, something, which we'll figure out what it's going to be when the time comes, you'll have the opportunity to jump into that too. So you're going to want to listen to that episode 100%, guys. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and spin the wheel, baby. And it's rolling. That was my version of a drum roll, guys, because I didn't find the button in time.
We need you back, sir. Zoobs.
Right? Zoobs. It's our good buddy Zoobsies. He earned it, man. Zoobs. So you guys know, Zoobs did a ton of work with us today. I would say out of everybody, beyond the tripod, me, Alex, and Scott, I would say Zoobs is right up there with us as far as putting in a lot of time and effort and keeping up on things. So I'm really glad that Zoobs actually got this one here. He deserves it, man.
Yes, nice.
So ZB Dubs too. He's been on top of things with us. I don't want to not mention you other managers too. You guys are all great, man. Everybody who helped us out, cover all these leagues. All of you players who got all of your wagering to us as quick as you possibly could. This was a really short week. We had literally like a 1-2 day turnaround to get our wagering in and get everything set up before the Wednesday game. So you guys really helped us knock that out as quick as possible and make it to where we could go into those games without any stress. So we really appreciate that from you guys.
Thank you very much.
So, all right, you guys have a great day. Once again, I know I've said that 3 times. I promise this is the last time because we did do our spin. So you guys, we will see you next week. Have a great weekend. Good luck on all your championship games. I hope everybody walks away a winner come Sunday night.
That's a wrap.
Yep.